Hello, Brother Monroe here, and welcome to Manor Lords, the brand new, well, I say brand new. If like me, you played the Next Fest demo, when was that, like a year, 2 years ago? Then you have maybe experienced a little bit of this game already. I, very luckily, was given an early access key by Hooded Horse and Slavic Magic. Thank you very, very much, because it has enabled me to work on a little bit of a guide, because I have, since acquiring that key, maybe about 48 hours or something in the game. I've basically been playing it non-stop. And I'm pretty sure that soon all of you watching will be playing it non-stop if you can, because, yeah, this is a really good game for an early access game as well. And it is worth saying that when the game releases, it will be releasing into early access. It is not done, but what is there already is absolutely great. I'm loving the game so far. But if you're jumping in, what do you need to know? First of all, well, I actually started this town here in the middle not too long ago, and I've got a couple of others on the go already, but I wanted to go through kind of the basics of what you need to worry about when you very first start trying to play, and some of the misconceptions that people have, and clear those up. So one of the really nice things about Manor Lords, because it's grounded in history, because it's grounded in reality, you can use real-world medieval logic to solve most of the problems you have. And the first one, aptly being demonstrated by, what's your name? Can't see. Anyway, this chap down here and Thomas are building a house. However, in Manor Lords, houses are super important. Your people need somewhere to live. Okay, you need shelter. But your houses are a little bit more important than that. They're not even called houses. They're called burgage plots. And the fact that they are a plot is very, very important. There are a few different ways you can build them. I'll come back to what all the stuff does. You can just build a house by itself, like this one here. Okay, this is just a house on its own, with nothing added to it. When you are constructing a burgage plot, if you just lay out the four things like that, and you get this, that is just you building a house. That's the most basic thing you can do. If you build something that's a somewhat unusual shape, something like this, at the moment it's saying you can't build anything. That's because it's trying to lay the entrance to the houses on this edge, indicated by this UI element here. You can click this and it rotates the thing around. Now you can see if I put it this way, two extra symbols appear. This little house with a plus, and this kind of, I don't know, shed with a hammer. This little house with a plus, once you've constructed your burgage plot, you can add an extension which allows a second family to live on the same plot. And I already have one constructed somewhere. I think this one, yeah, this one has two families. So you've got the main house here, and then you have this little extension house which allows you to fit two families on one plot. It is, however, the extension at the back that you really want to pay attention to, and I'll come back to that. But maximizing the size of these back plots is often the best thing in terms of efficiency and how your town progresses. But as I said, more on that later. In terms of shelter, though, you need burgage plots. You'll need 5 initially to house your initial workers. And then once you start growing, basically you cannot grow your town unless there is a burgage plot for people to move into. They just won't move in. So if you're finding that, oh, why am I not growing? You probably need more burgage plots so that there is space for people to move to. So you've sorted out shelter. the next thing on a medieval peasants list is warmth. You need firewood. And firewood is actually very, very easy to get. You build this building. This is the woodcutter's lodge. You assign a family to it using the plus button. And then one of the members of the family will go out. They'll cut down a tree. They'll chop the tree up. I wonder if anyone's actually doing it right now. Someone. I can hear him. Oh, they disappeared. Anyway, they go out, chop down a tree. They take the logs back to the woodcutter's lodge. They chop them up into firewood. And then the firewood gets put into your storehouse. Here it is. And then it gets sold in the market. And then people from your burgage plots can take the firewood and use it to keep themselves cozy. Now, obviously, it's August right now. So there's not much of a demand for firewood. So you can build up your stocks in summer. And then kind of use them up during the winter. That's fine. There are some buildings like I think the malt house. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But there are some buildings that need fuel in order to operate. Things like the bloomery, if you're going into ironworking and stuff like that. And if you want to, there is another way of doing fuel, which is this building. This is a charcoal burner. What it does is it takes firewood, it processes it into charcoal, which is twice as efficient for use as fuel. So you can basically turn one firewood into 2 charcoal, effectively doubling your fuel output. Oh yes, there is this building here. The clay furnace requires fuel. There you go. There's an example. So if you see this requires fueling, then that can be if you're wondering, oh, why is my firewood, why is my charcoal, why is my fuel going down in summer? That is why you have buildings that are using it up all the time. So you've sorted out shelter, you've sorted out fuel. The next thing you need to worry about is probably what you're going to be worrying about for most of the game, and that is food. Now, there are 2 ways, well, actually, there are 3 ways to get food. The first thing that you're probably going to do is you're going to build, where is it? Here it is. You're going to build a forager's hut to access a berry deposit, which are seasonal. You can only access them in the summer. In winter, they'll disappear. But it's very simple. You build the building next to the berries. You put someone in it. They'll grab all the berries, and then you'll store them up, and you can eat them through the winter. The other thing that's also very easy is if you have a wild animal deposit, you can build a hunting camp, and someone will go out and get meat. Just be careful that you don't chop down the trees or build anything too close to your wild animals. Although if you try and do that, you will get this warning that will cause migration. I think nearly all these are semi-randomized what you get, but I think nearly all the regions have some berries and some animals for you to kind of use to get your initial settlement going. And that's probably the way that most players will start off getting food. Once you've done that, though, then it moves onto your burgage plots. And your burgage plots are a really important source of food, because when you initially build them, provided that you have a back plot, like this burgage plot does, and if you don't have to assign anything to them, but if you have a back plot, you can build initially these 3 plot extensions: vegetables, chickens, and goats. Goats don't help with your food production. There's no milk in the game yet. This is to do with hides, leather, shoes, production chain, which is useful for leveling up your buildings. But if you're just worried about food, then goats, not useful. However, vegetables and chickens certainly are. They do cost money, which will be a bottleneck early on. But even, you know, one of your initial 5 plots with a vegetable plot, one of your initial 5 plots with a chicken coop can be extremely useful to get some variety into your diet. You can see here, I currently don't really have much in the way. I'm still on berries. But don't expect a lot of food from your burgage plots. One plot with a reasonably sized back garden is going to supply itself and maybe a little bit more. Don't expect to be able to feed a large settlement entirely on burgage plots. For that, you will need farms. And farms in Manor Lords initially seem a little bit confusing, but genuinely they aren't. Now you maybe notice, oh, I've got fields and things laid out all over this region, and I actually recommend that you do that. When you go to a new region, let's say Sil Bits over here, one of the first things I will do is go into the construction menu, pull up the overlay system. And usually I start off with barley, because barley fertility is the rarest in the game. And what you're looking for are these green plus areas. This is only a single plus, but it's probably the best we're going to get in this region. Sadly, I'm not in Laszlo, which has double and I think triple plus. Yeah, triple plus fertility all over the place. But figure out where your barley fertility is. Barley actually is not useful for food. It's to do with leveling up. But it's useful to know where your barley is, because it's the rarest of the kind of 3 crops that you can put down easily. Flax is worth keeping an eye on, but you don't need a lot of flax, so don't worry about it too much. But for food, you're looking at Emma, aka wheat fertility. And you can see here we've got a nice little area of double plus fertility. So this is where I would, in fact we've got a triple plus section here. So this is where I would be building my farms, and that is exactly what I've done over here in Wolbrand. I have a bit of barley fertility here, I have a bit of wheat fertility here. I think this is more, actually it could be either wheat or barley, probably barley if I put it down. This is wheat fertility. This is another wheat farm, and this is a flax farm for the future. Fields are free, so it is always worth popping down your fields early, because there's no penalty, and building your town around your fields. I strongly recommend that. Once you're ready to get them going, you need to build a farmhouse and staff it with workers. And again, I'm just going to be talking about wheat here. Your workers go out, they'll plant a field full of wheat, although this only appears to be half planted, which is a small issue. And in September, which is in end of this month, then you will harvest them. You only get 1 month to harvest your fields. Now, I also have another farm down here, which has a field of wheat, a field of flax, and a field of barley. Generally, don't do this with, rotating the 3 crops. But rotating your crops in general is super important. So what I have here is I have 3 wheat fields. 1 grows the wheat in year 1, 1 grows the wheat in year 2, and 1 grows the wheat in year 3. This allows your fertility to regenerate in between harvests, which is super important. You can see now it's September. What should be happening is, yeah, there we go. They're going out and starting to cut down the crops, which is absolutely fantastic. Cut down the wheat, which is exactly what we want. Once you cut down the wheat, they'll take it back to the farmhouse and turn up very quickly. That turns into grain. You then take the grain to a windmill and turn it into flour, and then your flour stocks you can turn into bread. You can either do that with where is it? This building, the communal oven, or if you unlock it, you can use the bakery. And I quite like using the bakery. And this is how you deal with big settlements. So this settlement over here, Eichenau, has an awful lot of farming going on. You can see we have absolutely tons of bread in stock. It's very, very powerful. If you want a big settlement, then you're going to have to do some farming. And getting to grips with the farming system is very, very important. There are a few things that can help you out with it. One is the heavy plough upgrade, which allows you to use an ox to plough the fields, which helps you save on labour costs. It's not super important, but it is useful. Far better are the bakeries, which allow you to have dedicated people making bread. They're very, very powerful. You only need probably one every 100 people. So I've got 3 bakeries because I've got 300 people in this settlement, and that's probably overkill, to be honest. You can get this upgrade as well, the fence up. That's why you see all these sheep all over the place. Fence up is really powerful, although it does look a bit weird, having all these sheep wandering around. Particularly if you combine fence up with sheep breeding, you can pop your You can pop your sheep on the fallow fields. They will eat the fallow grass. They will poop all over the field, and they will increase fertility, which is really, really nice. Increases your yields, but you don't need to do that. You can just access sheep farming the regular way. It does look like in the future in the game there are, because it, where is it? If you go here, it shows you dung and fertilizer. There's definitely going to be something in the future to do with fertilization where you don't use the sheep, but at the moment that is not in the game. But you will have to get to grips with farming if you want to have enough food to build the full-size settlements. Even if you have terrible fertility on the region that you're playing on, you are almost certainly going to have to do some farming at some point for wheat. There is the option of getting rye, which generally has superior fertility. If you're really struggling, it is worth going that way. If you do go for rye, then you can pick up the apple orchard, which is a burgage plot extension. You can see it here. They're expensive, but they are very, very fancy. I'm pretty sure you can see one down here. Yeah, there you go. They work just like the vegetable plots, in that the bigger the back plot is, the more yield you get. So you want to, if you're planning on going down orchards or vegetable heavy food production, then you really want to maximize the size of the plots at the back of your burgage plots. So that is a useful kind of additional food source. And another one, which again requires you to spend a development point, is beekeeping. That gives you access to the apiary, which allows you to get honey, but you're only allowed 2 per region. So that is limited. Vegetables, eggs, apples, bread, you can pretty much have as much as you want. Meat and berries, on the other hand, they really are not going to support big towns like this. Honey is not going to support a big town. You're gonna need to use your burgage plots. You're going to need to use farming to get your food variety up. And those are the 3 main things you have to worry about for nearly all the game. Those are your 3 main concerns, no matter what stage you're playing at, particularly food. And, you know, there's more to it, but that's the main thing. You need your shelter, you need your fuel, you need food. And if you have those 3 things sorted, then the rest is very easy. But what about the rest? Well, one of the main things you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to work towards level 3 buildings. This building here is a level 2. So you can upgrade your buildings from level 1 to level 2, like this. And that gives you an extra 1 regional wealth per month, which is nice. And then you can upgrade to level 3, which gives you 2. But the main reason that you want to do upgrades is to expand your town level and to unlock development points, basically. It's not too hard to get to level 2. All you need is water access, so you need to build a well, which you can do here. And the well has to go on these streaks, assuming you're turning them on. Otherwise, there's no water for it. You need a marketplace with at least 1 source of fuel, 2 sources of food. So early on, that can be your berries and your meat. Later on, that could be vegetables and eggs. And you need clothing, stall, supply, which typically for most people is going to be a tannery producing leather early on. Very easy to do the level 2. Level 3 is harder. First of all, you need church level 2, which means you need clay, which you get over here from the mining pit. And then you need to turn the clay into tiles using the clay furnace so that you can upgrade your church. You also need planks, which you can get from your wood production, but that's, again, not too difficult to figure out. But the other really tricky thing is you need a second form of clothes that cannot be just like linen or leather. You must be able to make shoes, clothes, or cloaks. Shoes, if you've gone leather, then shoes is the easiest thing to do. You need a level 2 plot. I have one somewhere. Here we go. You need a level 2 plot, and a level 2 plot with an open extension. Find one. There we go. Gets access to these extensions. These are kind of workshops and things. So you have the bakeries, if you've unlocked them. You have the brewery, which I'll talk about in a minute. The blacksmith's workshop. But for the clothes, you either need a cobbler's workshop to make shoes or a tailor's workshop to make clothes or cloaks. I tend to run 2 tailor's workshops, one making clothes, one making cloaks, and a cobbler's workshop making shoes, so that I just have a variety of things. But the big thing that is probably the most difficult is tavern supply. To get tavern supply, you need a tavern, of course, and you need to supply that tavern with beer, because peasants in Manor Lords are German, and they only drink beer. They don't drink cider, they don't drink wine, they don't drink whiskey or anything like that. They drink beer. And for beer, you need barley. And for barley, you need to farm. And that is why, when I was talking about the food production, I showed how to get the barley fields down first, because it's the lowest or rarest fertility to get. But it works just like the wheat or the emmer. You build a field of barley, your peasants come along after it's grown, chop it down, take it back to the farmhouse. Lovely. They'll then take it over to the malt house, which turns the barley into malt. And then you need a brewery, which is a burgage plot extension, to turn that malt into beer, which you can store up. And then you need someone assigned to the tavern, and then you will have tavern supply. But I recommend not activating your tavern until you've built the small stone church. And then you can go and build level 3 buildings, and you can get your settlement fully leveled up. And that's brilliant. The only other thing to talk about is defense. I am playing at the moment on peaceful. I have played the regular kind of mode where you have to do more in the way of battles, which are massively fun, by the way. But that doesn't mean that I've ignored my military. I have 4 units currently. Military, my strong recommendation at the moment is you can go into making your own armor and weapons, which is very cool. But I found the easiest thing to do is just to not worry about that too much. However, bows are super easy to make. All you need is a fletcher's shop. A fletcher will take planks and turn them into bows. You can very quickly get enormous numbers of war bows. As you can see, I've got 500 in this settlement. And you then create a new unit of archer militia, and in no time at all, you will have a fairly effective combat unit. You can make them better by getting them helmets. You can see here I've got 36 helmets in this unit. Helmets are... You can make them if you're going to go down the iron making, but I tend to just import them using the trading post. And you can also use gamsons and mail. Now, you can see here this unit has 5 and 2. This unit, which comes from Emerith, over here, they have 28 units of mail and 4 gamsons. I think, although I will feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, if your archer militia is drawn from a level 1 burgage plot, they only use a helmet. You can see here they've got 4 helmets stored in the house along with 4 bows. If they come from a level 2 plot, then in addition to their bow and their helmet, they will grab a gambeson. And if they come from a level 3 building, instead of a gambeson, they will wear mail. So your militias are more effective if they're recruited from level 3 buildings, and then you import a mail shirt for them to wear and a helmet for them to wear. Really, really helpful. You can also recruit spear, polearm, or footman militia if you import sidearms, polearms, spears, and things like that. You can make shields very easily using a carpenter's workshop, which are also another really simple thing to make. You just need planks, and then you can sell them. So shields are pretty easy to get. So you can go down the foot route. I just tend to find the archer militia are the best use of your militia, because for foot infantry, you can get your retinue, which are super, super powerful. Once you unlock them, I think you get 4 initially. You get them once you build your manor. You do not need to build a giant manor like this. More about that in a second. Once you get them, you can go into customization, and you can just recruit them for 50 coins, which you get from your tax revenue. And once you have them, you can then upgrade them, which I can't see right now. But over here, you'll have a little upgrade button, and that, I think, costs 100 silver, and you can get them plate armor and a full retinue of 24 with plate armor is supremely effective as your frontline unit, and your archers can shoot through them effectively at the moment, which is super, super useful. And I find them to be way more effective if you can get them than your archer militia. Archer militia are fine for taking on bandits and raiders for the most part, and if you've got a single unit of retinue, then they can usually kind of absorb any blows from kind of melee units. But if you are worried about defense, get some archer militia units. Very easy to set up a bow, warbow production. You just need a single level 2 plot with a Fletcher's workshop on the back of it. Find the building. This one. And yeah, very quickly you'll have enough to supply a full unit of 36 archer militia. Very, very easy easy way to do things. And that is pretty much all I really need to say. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comments of the video. And I did say I would explain this. I know it's an early access game. I was attempting with this project to try and build the city inside the manor fence. That's something you could do in the demo. It's something that I saw One Proud Bavarian doing in the press build, but I've been very cheeky. I'm looking at the current beta test build, which I'm assuming is going to be the closest to the release build. And what I thought you would be able to do is to build the manor and then build stuff inside the manor. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like you can. It says road access obstructed. If you build the town inside and then build the manor around it, it does work visually. But what happens is you can't select any of the buildings inside. So maybe there is a way of doing it. But at the moment, that is not intended. When you build your manor, the purpose of the manor is, and the castle planner is to build the castle. At the moment, sadly, you can't build fortified towns and things. So you can build something like this very easily. You know, a little fortified manor. But at the moment, I don't think you can encase your towns, your villages in defences. But that's fine, because the defences are basically non-functional anyway. At the moment, for instance, if you had this, and you're like, oh, I'm going to deploy my archers here, and they can just, you know, stand on this little hill and shoot over at the enemy over there, and they won't be able to get me, well, they can just walk right through the wall. So don't think that built defences are super important in the game at the moment. They are not. Anyway, I hope this has proven useful or interesting, or both. If you have any aspects of the current build of Manor Lords that you would like me to cover, then let me know down in the comments, and I will endeavour to show you what's what. But otherwise, I'm going to be just playing this live because it's fantastic, and I just love building little medieval towns. It's great. Anyway, I've been Brother Monroe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Manor Lords. Bye for now.